Hey guys, welcome back to this channel. In this video, we'll be covering a USACO problem from December of 2023. This is a bronze problem, so it's going to be pretty intuitive. We're covering it because I think it could be very useful to you guys in the sense that we don't go too deep into data structures in this video, so it'll be pretty easy to understand. All right, so the name of the problem is Candy Cane Feast. Farmer John's cows have quite the sweet tooth, and they especially enjoy eating candy canes. Farmer John has N total cows, each with a certain initial height, and he wants to feed them M candy canes, each also of varying heights. Farmer John plans to feed the candy canes one by one to the cows in the order they are given in the input. To feed a candy cane to his cow, he will hang the candy cane so that the candy cane is initially touching the ground. The cows will then line up one by one in order of the given input and go up to the candy cane, each eating up to their height, since they can't reach any higher than their height. The candy cane stays suspended in the place where it was initially set up and is not lowered to the ground, even after the cows have eaten out the bottom of the candy cane. It is possible the cow may eat nothing during her turn if the base of the candy cane is already higher above the cow's height. After every cow has had their turn, the cows grow in height by the amount of units they ate by the amount of units of candy cane they ate. And Farmer John hangs the next candy cane, and then the cows repeat the process over and over again. All right, so let's try to break down this problem. So quickly, just the input format, N and M, N being the number of cows, M being the number of candy canes. Next line being the initial height of the cows, and then the line after that being the height of the candy canes. So just 3 lines of input. This is pretty simple. We will be doing this problem in Python because it's just simpler that way. Here's a sample input and its explanation, but let me just go ahead and quickly give you guys a rough drawing. So suppose you have a candy cane, right? This is the ground, and the height of this candy cane is 6. Then from here, in the input, let's say you were given a list which involved 3, 1, and 4. So these this list represents like the heights of the different cows, and in an example run, so the first cow would come up, it would eat 3 units of candy cane. The second cow would come up, wouldn't be able to eat anything, and the third cow would come up and only eat 1 unit of candy cane, right? Because this part has already been eaten. Okay, so finally, what we're outputting the final heights of all the cows. So for this scenario, suppose the input is 3, 1, which would be 3 cows, 1 candy cane. Then, as we saw here, 3, 1, 4. And then the last line would just be 6 in this case, because that's just the height of the candy cane. So finally, after we get all this input, we would output 6, 1, and 5, because that's the amount of candy canes that's the amount of candy cane each cow ate. All right, so now to get into this problem, we will be using a nested for loop approach. So first, we will go in a loop of the candy canes, so being their respective heights, and then within that loop of candy canes, we will go into a loop of the cows, seeing how much every cow ate per candy cane, if that makes sense. This will be a lot easier to see in the code, just trying to give a little visual explanation. Yeah, so let's get into the problem. All right, so here we have, let's just take in our inputs really quick. We have N and M, which we'll just map respectively really quick, because remember, in USACO problems, the input is derived from the console, well, their own internal console, and we don't have to read any files, which is actually quite helpful. Now let's just add some comments. So N would be the number of cows, M would be the number of candy canes. Yeah, okay, and then now we have two more lines of inputs left. One would be the cow heights, which would just be a list of the cows' heights. It's pretty much the same thing same thing what we did in the first line. And then the next one would be the candy heights, which, I mean, that's the name of the list, but that's just the list of the candy cane heights. Yeah. If you guys are trying to get into USACO, I would highly suggest familiarizing yourselves with the input format, because it's a real, like, it's really annoying to just have to search this stuff up over and over again. All right, so now let's get into the logic. So as I mentioned previously, nested for loop approach. So first we're going to go in range of m, so the number of candy canes, and then after that we're also going to go into the range of for the cows, right? Oh, whoops. Okay. So before we enter the for loop for the cows, we will need an outside variable, which will be the amount of candy eaten, like, per candy cane. So we can just call this, like, candy cane total amount eaten, right? There's just the abbreviation over there. There we go. So here we'll just have a very rudimentary check, because so if the amount of candy cane eaten is greater than or equal to the height of the candy cane, that's just simply not possible. So we just have to add this small little check in, which would be greater than or equal to. Then we just break that, and then we move on to the next one. Now, let's get into the actual logic. Here, if the cow's height is greater than, or is simply just greater than the amount of candy cane eaten, then it can eat the remaining candy cane, right? Because if we go back to our drawing, right, the amount of candy cane eaten in this case of like 314, just because the cow's height is 4 does not mean it can eat 6 minus 4, right? It can only eat 6 minus the amount previously eaten, because this cow already ate the bottom off. All right, so now let's just implement that into our code. So that would be if the cow height is at I, that's just like the individual cow, is greater than the total amount of candy cane eaten from that individual candy cane, then we should have a variable candy eaten. Oh, 1 second, let me fix this. So there's two possible cases for what candy eaten should be. One, the basic case where it's the first cow, right? So the amount of candy eaten, or it's just a regular cow. So the amount of candy eaten is just however much taller it is than the bottom. So if we take the example of this cow at the end here, it can eat anything from 3 and up. So if we call 3 candy total eaten, right? If we call it our variable, then the amount of candy cane that this cow can eat is 4 minus 3. So it can eat 1. However, there is another case. What if the remaining cow is taller than the height of the candy cane? So suppose the height of the candy cane is 6, but the cow's height is 7. Then you can't do 6 minus 7, or however much is eaten, because you'd get -1. That just doesn't make sense. So in this case, what you have to do is you have to find just the amount of total candy cane left. So that would be the candy cane's height minus the candy total amount eaten, right? So that would, in this case, be 3. So to implement this, we can use the minimum function. So we can set candy eaten to the smallest value of two possible things. One would be the cow's height minus the total amount eaten, or it can be, so this is in the case that the cow's height is taller than the candy cane height. So this would be candy heights at K, so that's just the height of the candy cane, minus the total amount previously eaten. Yeah. So from here, we start incrementing. We go, the total amount of candy cane eaten is, so now we add it to itself, is, yeah, it's just the total amount of candy cane eaten plus the candy cane eaten on this iteration. I'm not, if you guys aren't familiar with this type of like notation, simply all I did was candy cane total amount eaten is equal to candy cane total amount eaten plus candy eaten. I'm saying candy way too many times, but yeah, that's just what that is. All right, now just incrementing the cow's height is all you have to do. So from here, it's the total amount eaten plus this, and the cow height. So this is just the cow's height getting incremented. Plus equal candy eaten. Now to output, we're basically done with our program. Now to output, it's just for cow in cow heights, just print cow. And that is the program. All right, so hopefully this works. File, submit solution. Come on, please. Oh, okay. Come on. Fingers crossed. Woohoo! All right, guys, that's gonna be the end of this video. If you do have any questions, just comment them down below. I'll try to answer them as quickly as I can. And hope you guys have a great new year. Thanks for watching.